Hi Kenyans, I hope mko salama. Hope we are all fine in spite of all the challenges that tuko nazo as a nation. Now the issue I want to talk about today is the issue, the system of politics or governance that we have, where that the party that wins takes everything. The winner takes it all. Issue ya democracy ya ati ni 51 against 49. And the question that kama sisi wa Kenya na Africa we need to ask ourselves is, who are we against? Who are the 49? Right? The last elections that we had was won by around 200,000 votes, meaning that it was sort of like 50-50. And the issues that we're having today is the systemic issues where it's the systems that we have in place that are causing, or we continually cause these issues until we address them. It's the laws that we have in place that cause all these things, all these issues. And may I dare say that this is done, it's a deliberate move. This is no coincidence. It's not a mistake. It's not that something that the people who pushed for this kind of laws or who pushed for this kind of systems don't know what they were doing. Hapana, walikuwa wanajua exactly what they were doing. So the question is, our 51 ni nani na our 49 ni nani? Nani mko against? Who is against who? For many years, Africans, and specifically sisi wa Kenya, we need to understand, because we haven't understood that our enemy is not the other person or the other people from a different political party. Your enemy is not this tribe or that tribe. Our enemy ni njaa. Our enemy ni ukosefu wa maji. Our enemy is insecurity. Our enemy is corruption. Our enemy is lack of jobs. All these affect all Kenyans. But the magicians, right, what I call the politricks, these tricks, the politics, very destructive, very lethal to us as wa Kenya, wa Africa, watu weusi in general. This is what it causes, right? We are told that that democracy, that this is they talk about this is a democratic movement. I always, this is Kenya tafadhali, right? What we're doing here is, and black people, what we're doing here, we're trying to use our brains. We're trying to come up with solutions, because every day in our papers, on TV and everywhere, we are used to reporting. People report. An incident or an accident happens, people report it. But actually no one comes with solutions. So we have to be solution-based human beings. We have to be able to kuja na solutions, and solutions that zile mambo zinatu affect sisi. Let me ask you a question, right? Do you practice democracy at home? Kwa familia yenyu? Have you ever practiced democracy kwa familia yenyu? Have you ever voted in your family and said, you know what, we're going to vote and see the people who are going to eat and the people who are not going to eat? Have you practiced 51 against 49 at home? Do you practice 51 against the 49 amongst your friends? Do you practice that in the larger family? I tell people this: our bodies, your body itself, it has trillions and trillions of cells, over 100 trillion cells. Let me tell you something. What will happen if your body were to practice a democracy? Let me tell you what will happen if your body says, you know what, 51% against the 49. Do you know what will happen to you? You will die. Even God won't help you if your cells start behaving or living that way. The trillions of our cells, the body cells that we have, the trillions of them, they work together on a daily basis to give us life. The eye cells, the ear cells, the tongue cells, the brain cells, the liver cells, all these different cells, they work together in order to give you the best that they have, in order for you to enjoy the health that you have. And the cells, all the cells of the body, they recognize the true enemy. That the true enemy isn't other cells. And that kuna diseases zingine where your cells start, for some reason, there's a mutation and they start looking at the body cells as enemies and they start attacking them. And guess what happens to those patients? They die. Once your body cell starts attacking you, other cells, thinking that other cells are enemies, and it happens. As I said, even God cannot help you. Now, since tunajua, it's clear, it's crystal clear, we do not practice the 51 against 49 at home, because it will be chaotic. We don't practice it at home. We don't practice that in our communities. We don't vote in our communities and say, no, sasa tunataka kuvote to see the people who will be using this road and the other guys who mkishindwa amtatumia barabara tena, mtakuwa mnachukua 2 hours kwenda kufika pale, but si tumeshinda, we just cross over 5 minutes. Have you ever, do you hear that? You don't hear that because it's madness. That is pure madness. If you ever say that kind of thing, people know that unafaa kwenda madhara. But when it comes to politics, that's where the real madness is. We practice what we cannot even practice in our very own homes. But so now we multiply it to numbers unknown and say that which we don't do at home, we will do it all over the country. And when we do that, the results that we're going to get will be perfect results. I heard the president saying, President Ruto saying that he's trying to unite the country. And I laughed. And I tell you why I laughed. Because half of the country is with Baba. Right? And people who hear what I'm saying might say, oh, you support him, you're on... No. As I said, I am on the side of logic, truth, justice. And I'm seeing not just 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. I'm seeing our future as a nation, our future as a continent, our future as a people. Right? He was saying that he's working very hard to unite the country. But have you called Baba to talk to him? How can you go to where Baba comes from? How can you even allow people from where Baba comes from, could be politicians, it could be business people, how can you allow them to even sit down with you, and you haven't sat down with the man that half the country, half the nation of Kenya supports? And I was like, you're not being truthful here. You're not being truthful, right? You cannot claim that you're uniting the country, but you're having a word with the children, but you're not having a word with the parents, and you're saying, "Oh, I want a very good relationship with these parents," by 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 having a relationship with the kids. It doesn't work that way. First of all, you have a word with the parents, and then it's the parents who now tell the kids what to do or how to relate with you. So this thing, but besides that, let's talk about how can we as a people change this for our good. The solution, and the only solution that will help us as Kenyans and as Africans these days, we do not have a choice but to have rotational presidency, rotational leadership. What does that mean? The presidential seat must rotate. Members from all the communities, all the tribes, must have a chance to lead our nation. Must have a chance to lead our nation. Must have a chance to be part of the progress, be part of the process of taking us to the next level. So we must have this issue of these are the only tribes that for some reason some people are saying that it's a God-given right. Well, it's a God-given right for and all other tribes in our nation to be part of our nation. It's a God-given right. So we all have this God-given right to be faithful citizens to take us to the next level. The only solution is the rotational presidency, and we have to come up with laws that ensure that the government, the whole structure, the whole government, the cabinet, right, is represented by all Kenyans. Hii mambo ya cabinet tunasikia ati 30 people came from this tribe, 10 people came from that tribe, alafu 1 person or 2 came from the other tribe, and the other tribes, they don't even have anyone. That doesn't work, and it will never work. And it's you loudly telling Kenyans that we don't really care about you. So what we're saying here is this, that we have to change our laws so that it's not the winner takes it all. There is no winner if half of Kenyans don't win, are not part of the celebration. How can you say you won and half of the people are not part of the celebration? And I'm not just talking about these particular elections. I'm talking about all previous elections. All previous elections. There is no such thing as we are celebrating. What are you celebrating when other Kenyans feel cheated? When other Kenyans feel that they've been cheated year in, year out, election in, election out, right? So the solution that we have is we have to come up with rotational presidency, rotational deputy presidency, right? Rotational when it comes to even the county level, right? The people who are in the county must feel that they are well represented, that they are part of their own is represented. We can now start talking about truth and justice. In the absence of this, it's almost impossible for us to go forward, right? And remember, I have talked about the Mau before because I'm Mau. My grandparents were Mau, and not are, because they'll never cease being. And so I feel even other people when wanasema that Kenya iko na shareholders, I'm part of those shareholders by default, because my grandparents fought and suffered a lot with their comrades. They suffered a lot fighting for our nation, right? So I'm part of that, and you are part of that. We are part of the shareholders. So no one should think in their heads that, oh, I'm not a shareholder. You are very, very important. And that's why these people know that they need to cheat you to vote for them. And we as a people must come to a point whereby we stop voting for individuals, we stop voting for names, and we start voting for the truth. We start voting for Kenyans, for us, ourselves. So that system must come from us. And that will ensure that there is no post-election violence. That we don't have these deaths. We don't have these threats. Now they're threatening that we are going to arrest Raila. We are going to arrest Baba. The people are saying that because they want to see our nation burn. If you do that, we do not know what will happen, because that will be the last thing. But they're very comfortable making these threats. Why? Going back to the system. They always go back to, we won. We won. We won. We are 51. We have a system that says it's 51 against the 49. So the 49 must sit down and eat the crumbs that fall from our table. We're the only ones who can sit. We can sit and enjoy what's there on the table, and but the rest, they just sit down, watch square crumbs. So you who lost, you don't have a say. You can't sit. You're not welcome at the table, at the banquet, where there's champagne, the best meats, the best everything. No, you're not part of it. Because we are the ones who are part of it. The strangest thing that happens is this. For example, in the previous government, and we've seen that, we've had very, very professional government employees. Very, very professional, and who know how to execute their duties because of the experiences. Once a new government comes, what happens? They get rid of them because they don't belong to supposedly the party that won, and they kick them. They kick them out, and they bring in amateurs, people who do not have a clue of what they're doing. And we've seen it even in this government, unfortunately, right? People who work in very key government positions, and they're saying things that don't make sense, and they themselves think that they make sense. And everyone can see from a distance that these guys are amateurs, that they have no clue. When it comes to international relations, they're saying things you're like, what are you talking about? So it's that continuity from it's a system that is corrupt, is a system that doesn't work, is a system cannot or will never enable us to progress. Is a system that ensures that we fail. So at the end of it all, and I keep saying this, we as Kenyans can decide to go and pray on top of Mount Kenya. But when we pray, when we leave Mount Kenya and we come down, right, we will find the system looking at us, and the system will tell us, mulienda maombi, asanteni sana, we were waiting for you. Come and join us to Afuruge. Come and join us to Akule. Because the systems that we have, or the system that we have, they are monsters. They are monsters that are eating us. They are monsters that are destroying us. Instead of investing in ourselves to attack our real enemies, now we are now looking at, now you hear President saying that umenisumbua sana wewe, unafikiria nini, unafikiria nakuogopa. I'm like, what are you talking about? The president should be talking about how he fears diseases and what he's doing to ensure that these diseases stay at bay. The president should be talking about how he will deal with hunger. He will deal with joblessness. All these things, corruption. Our common enemy should be corruption. How do we deal with corruption? No, but now it's someone. Unafikiri mimi nakuogopa wewe? Mimi ni nani? And you're thinking, Why are you saying nani when we are losing billions every day? But you're so much concerned about that other person because the system is a destructive system, right? The system is there to destroy us. The system is there to lead us down a very a dangerous path. So Kenya, solution yetu, we have to come together to ensure ya kwamba we have changed the way we do our things, our political systems, our government. The way the government should include everybody from all tribes. Just this tribe, the government should include everyone from all the tribes that we have in our country, because Kenya is our home and Kenya is our business. And we are one family. And in a family, families do not practice democracy. They only practice democracy if they want to go to hell, for real. So rotational presidency lazima ikuwe kwa table. Rotational presidency, cabinet lazima ikuwe include all Kenyans, na all parasitu zote lazima include wa Kenya wote. So ukienda mahali you see that you're represented, you feel home, because what's happening and what has happened all over the years is a complete opposite. Now, if we experience that as Kenyans, who are you going to fight? You'll be fighting the real enemy, or the real enemies. So, wale mnaomba, nitasema muende muombe, mkimaliza kuomba, you come back, and the system will be looking at you even with bigger eyes. Because the system that we are allowed to govern us, they are monsters that are eating us. So, tukue solution-based Kenyans, na tuambiane ukweli. Asanteni.